Thank you, councillors. If you could all take your seats, please. Thank you. Good evening. Before we start the meeting, may I inform members, officers and the public that we are not expecting a fire drill today, but in the event of a fire alarm ringing, please do not exit via the lifts, but use the stairs via one of the main fire exits at either end of the chamber or the public gallery. For those of you not familiar with the building, toilets are available just outside the chamber at either end of the members' foyer on the right-hand side. I would also politely ask that you turn off your mobile phones and any other electronic devices, or switch them to silent, please. Thank you. Can I clarify that all items, apart from approval of the minutes, where a vote is required to be taken, unless otherwise indicated, this will be undertaken using the electronic voting devices. I would also like to remind all members that should they leave the chamber during any item, they should satisfy themselves they have heard enough of the debate to vote in an instructive manner. Furthermore, I would also be grateful if all contributions could be concise and that the various time limits for speeches are respected. Thank you. I'm now pleased to open the 4th annual meeting of North Northamptonshire Council. Welcome to this meeting of the annual council meeting of North Northamptonshire Council on the 23rd of May 2024. My year of office as chairman is now drawing to a close. It has been an immense honour to serve in this role. It has been an interesting and enjoyable year. Of the 160 odd events covered in the year, the standout engagements would have to be the occasions of the 3 royal visits to Corby and to Wellingborough, the installation of the new bishop for the Diocese of Peterborough, as well as the planting of trees to mark the coronation of the new king, albeit in the pouring rain. The real joy has been to meet with local groups and organisations to gain some insight into the amazing work they are doing, as well as attend events organised by our own officers for the benefit of our community. It was a privilege to present Rose of the Shires Awards to outstanding individuals, groups and charities, and to attend award ceremonies that recognised those dedicated to helping others. I've also attended memorable county-wide events, such as the County Swimming Gala, and those held at the Hindu Centre in Wellingborough. I've also been part of the Lord Lieutenant's Civic Working Group, which seeks to raise the profile of Northamptonshire by marking the county's rich heritage. These are mainly centred around Northampton as our county town, but I'm pleased to say that events held in North Northamptonshire this year, such as the St Crispinian service to commemorate Northamptonshire's shoe industry, were successful. I hope to see more of these events shared around the county. But I could go on. Suffice to say, I have been honoured to attend the many and varied events throughout the year. As my final statement, may I take this opportunity to express thanks to all officers and members for your commitment to North Northamptonshire Council and for the support I personally have received throughout my year. I would particularly like to to thank members, firstly for putting your trust in me by electing me as your civic head, but also for the courtesy extended to me both here in the chamber and when out and about on civic engagements. Sincere thanks go to officers on the top table. I am grateful for your help and support, and especially to the Chairman Secretary, Alison Beattie, for ably maintaining the Chairman's diary and her commitment to steering the Vice Chairman and myself through the year. My thanks also go to Councillor Laura Lorman for her support as my Vice Chairman and her willingness to step up to ensure that we covered as many engagements as possible. It has been my pleasure to work with Councillor Lorman over the last year. One other person I need to thank is my daughter Fiona. Her support throughout has been invaluable. Thank you. The first item of business is to receive nominations for the position of Chairman for the year 2024-25. I have pleasure in proposing Councillor Laura Lorman to serve as Chairman of North Northamptonshire Council for the year 2024-25. I have no doubt that she will represent this council with great dignity and will work hard to progress the role of Chairman by reaching out to all the communities within our area. May I please see Councillor Helen Howell to second that motion.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I'd just like to thank you for all that you have done over this past year as Chairman. You've done a really sterling job for us, and yeah, I'm sure every member here will say how much they do appreciate it. So, thank you. And
thank you very much.
Yes, that's right. Well deserved, I might say, well deserved. So with that, Madam Chairman, yes, I am delighted to second Councillor Laura Lorman as Chairman for the coming year, 2024-25. Councillor Lorman has a wealth of experience as a councillor, Chairman and former Mayor, and I know she will ensure meetings in this chamber are managed in a fair and balanced manner. Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Thank you. Councillor Lorman, do you accept the nomination?
I do. I'm working.
Thank you. There are no other nominations. May I please see those in favour of the election of Councillor Laura Lorman as Chair for 2024-25? Thank you. Any abstentions? And those against? Okay. I hereby declare Councillor Laura Lorman duly elected as Chair of North Northamptonshire Council for the year 2024-25. And thank you for your generosity in acknowledging my year. Thank you. I'll take those. Don't drink my water. That's my...
I, Laura Lorman, having been elected to the office of Chair of the Council for North Northamptonshire, hereby declare that I take the said office upon myself and will duly and faithfully fulfil the duties thereof according to the best of my judgment and ability. I do solemnly declare that I will uphold the highest standards in the performance of the functions of my office in accordance with the Council's Code of Conduct. Oops. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. I feel deeply honoured with your trust, and I hope I'll say a few words later on if we just appoint now. Item 2, the appointment of the Vice Chair for 24-25. Please may I see, well, I'm moving the nomination of Councillor Jenny Bone. Is there a seconder, please? Councillor Wilkes.
Thank you, Madam Chairman, and congratulations.
Thank you.
I think I've known Councillor Bone for a number of years. I think her ability and her vast experience is recognised and respected by all members, and I'm absolutely confident that she will carry out her duties admirably. So with that, Madam Chairman, I'm delighted to second Councillor Bone as Vice Chair of North Northants Council for the year 2024-2025.
Thank you very much. Councillor Bone, do you accept the nomination?
I do, Madam Chairman.
Thank you. I understand we have one other nomination for Vice Chair. Please may I see Councillor McKean to move the nomination of Councillor Ross Armour.
Thank you, Chair. Following what happened in the previous boroughs and districts, the political parties used to rotate the chairs of mayors and chairs. So, given that notification, I think it would be prudent for the last year of any council going into election if the opposition was to be given the vice chair. On that note, I'd like to nominate Councillor Ross Armour. Councillor Ross Armour has had a really good year as Deputy Mayor of Corby. He will also treat the chair and be impartial, and I believe he will be a credit to North Northamptonshire. I'm very happy to nominate him.
Thank you. Is there a seconder for that nomination? Councillor McGee.
Thank you, Chair, for congratulations on your post.
Thank you.
And I welcome you to see the fairness right across the year to all of us in this chamber. I am happy to, and can I just say before I go on to nominate that, thank you to our last chair, Kenny. Brilliant chair, and I appreciated all the hard work that you did last year in here and in the community. Thank you very much. I would love to nominate Ross as Vice Chair. I think it's important. Ross speaks nationally on his other jobs, and he's got the qualities, he's got the fairness, and he's got the respect, not only from us on this side, but I'm sure others, but also nationally on his other job. So I would be happy to nominate Ross as Vice Chair.
Thank you, Councillor McGee. Councillor Armour, do you accept the nomination? Okay, thank you. I think we heard that. By show of hands, can I first of all please see those in favour of the election of Councillor Jenny Bone as Vice Chair for 2024-25, please? Those against? Abstain? Thank you. I will put it to the vote with Councillor Armour as well, in all fairness. Can I have a show of hands in favour of Councillor Armour as Vice Chair for 24-25? Those against, please show. Abstentions? I'm afraid, Councillor Armour, you have lost that nomination, and I hereby declare Councillor Jenny Bone duly appointed as Vice Chairman for 2024-2025. If you would like to join me. Oh, you don't need to, you don't need that. It's fine. Councillor Bone will now sign the acceptance of office.
I, Jenny Bone, having been elected to the office of Vice Chair of the Council for North Northamptonshire, hereby declare that I take the said office upon myself and will duly and faithfully fulfil the duties thereof according to the best of my judgment and ability. I do solemnly declare that I will uphold the highest standards in the performance of the functions of my office in accordance with the Council's Code of Conduct.
Thank you. Thank you and welcome to the days. Agenda item 3, apologies for absence. Could I see Councillor Rowley for the Conservative group, please?
Thank you and congratulations, Chair, Vice Chair.
Thank you.
We've got apologies from Councillors Hallen, Harrington, Jelly, Llewell, Pentland, Kevin Watts, Councillor Deering and Councillor Tighe, and Councillor Scott Brown has sent his apologies, he's running late.
Thank you. Could I see is it you, Councillor Armour? Okay. Could I see you for the apologies of the Labour group, please?
Thank you, and congratulations to you both on your elections. From the Labour group, we have apologies from Councillors Leanne Buckingham, Sims, can't read my writing, DL, Cahoon, McEwen and Watts.
Thank you very much. There are none from the Green Alliance, I believe, unless you have some, Councillor Fedorowicz.
Thank you, Chair. Congratulations also to the new Vice Chair. Thank you. We do have apologies from Councillor Best.
Okay, thank you very much. And the Independent Alliance, Councillor Sedwin Brown.
Well, she would speak if she was here. She's apologies for absence from Sedwin Brown and Joseph Smith.
Thank you very much. That is noted. Are there any other apologies to be recorded? Don't believe so. Okay. In that case, we go straight to the declarations of interest. Are there any declarations of interest that councillors wish to make related to the items to be discussed? Any? No? Okay. So before we finish, please be informed that a request to update your annual register of interest will be emailed to you from the Head of Democratic Services tomorrow, and a response will be required even if there are no changes placed. And if you could efficiently do that, and I know you all will be within the next 7 days, that would be greatly appreciated by Democratic Services. Thank you very much. Agenda item 5 are the minutes of the meeting held on the 25th of April. Are there any issues in relation to the accuracy? Any amendments? No. I propose, therefore, the minutes of the meeting of the 25th of April 2024. And could I have a seconder, please? Okay. And all in favour to approve those minutes? Anybody against? Abstentions? That's carried, and we approve those. Do I sign them? Which ones? Just a second. No. was a public document. Has anybody got a copy? This one. Okay, thank you. We found them. This one. Thank you. And with that, there are the chair's announcements. So I would like to welcome the members of the public to the meeting, including those who are my personal guests this evening. And I would also like to welcome those who may be watching online, and especially my family in Germany. Before I go on, I would like to say a few words about our outgoing chairman. Barbara was an excellent chairman who attended combined more than 160 events in her year, and she's been a brilliant advocate of NNC wherever she went and represented NNC very, very well. A role she often fulfilled together with her daughter Fiona as her consort, and it was always a pleasure to see both of you at events. Barbara was a chairman who was fair, patient, and understanding. I have known Barbara since the 1990s, and I've seen Barbara in various different roles. As a past mayor of Rushden, past chairman of the employment committee, whilst working in the Conservative office years ago. In those days, David was by her side and suffering the loss of her beloved husband David just before Barbara took over as NNC chairman must have been incredibly hard. I'm so glad, Barbara, that you accepted at the time the role of chairman. It can't have been easy. I learned a lot by watching you perform the duties whilst I was your deputy, and I hope to be able to follow in your footsteps and ensure that communities of the NNC area are always at the heart of all I do. And on behalf of all this evening, here this evening, I would like to say a huge thank you for everything you've done for us. I think she deserves it. And with that, so once more, good evening, councillors, officers, guests, and those watching online. Thank you so much to my fellow councillors who bestowed me this evening with the incredible honour and privilege to become the 4th chairman of North Northamptonshire Council, a position I hope to fulfil to the best of my ability, whilst always having North Northamptonshire communities at the heart of my endeavours. I very much look forward to my year in office at NNC, serving the residents, but I'm very aware that I have large shoes to fill when taking over from Councillor Barbara Jenny. Many of you may not know me well, but by my accent, it clearly indicates I was German born. And of course, I'm married to Graham, a fact sometimes the press even picked up. I have various hobbies, and apart from politics, I'm proud to be the owner of several dolls' houses, something that teaches me patience when I need it. And I also love photography and collecting certain pottery. One of the things that drive me is the love helping other people, and I vowed in 2003, since my first election at the time to the Borough Council, to speak up for those who may not be able to or feel they can't speak up for themselves. That pointed me to choose a local charity to North Northants, where we can all make a small difference. My charity for the year will be Teamwork Trust, and I'm absolutely delighted to have here the Chief Executive and the Head of Development of Teamwork Trust. And it will be for the benefit of the day centre users who all have various disabilities. And They are involved in activities in centres in Corby and Kettering and Wellingborough, and have groups in East Northants. Having got to know the charity when I was mayor in Wellingborough 3 years ago, it made me realise that a little help often goes a long way. Seeing the individual achievements of the Teamwork Trust Centre users made me determined to fundraise for them in my year once more. I'm hoping to hold some fundraising events, and together with your help, such events can both be fun and very successful for Teamwork Trust. You will hear from Teamwork Trust Chief Executive Helen Burdett-Wright in a moment. Helen is this evening accompanied by Richard Ellis, who's Head of Development, and a very special welcome to them. I look forward to visiting all parts of NNC area and supporting the various wonderful villages and towns we have, meeting people and supporting organisations. And for your diaries, please, my civic service is scheduled for Sunday, the 23rd of June at 2 p.m. at All Hallows Church in Wellingborough. I would be delighted to see as many of you as is possible. And now I would like to welcome Helen Burdett and, of course, Rick, to please talk about Teamwork Trust. Thank you. If you come that way.
Thank you. Okay, perfect. Good evening, everybody. My name is Helen Burdett-Wright, and I am the CEO of Teamwork Trust. I am accompanied this evening by Richard Ellis, who is our Head of Development, and we are delighted to be invited this evening. Firstly, I must congratulate Councillor Laura Lorman on being elected as Chair of Northamptonshire, Northants Council, and to the Vice Chair as well. I wish you both every success in your new roles. I had the privilege of meeting Councillor Laura Lorman almost 2 years ago when she was the Mayor of Wellingborough. And when I first joined Teamwork Trust, I was delighted to see how Councillor Laura Lorman got so involved with our service users. She is not only a wonderful advocate of Teamwork Trust and our charitable aims, but she also takes a very hands-on approach and has been known to fully immerse herself in the activities and events alongside our service users. We are delighted that Teamwork Trust will benefit from Councillor Laura Lorman's continuous support. Thank you. Teamwork Trust is one of the largest providers in Northants, and we are fortunate to have support over 120 individuals with learning disability, autism and mental health challenges. We support them towards their chosen person-centred outcomes. We offer a diverse curriculum with a focus on areas which matter most to our service users, constantly reviewing and seeking new opportunities to make our offer more appealing to a broader cross-section of people. We have progressive partnerships with local SEND schools, several different arms of Northants Council, Northants Health Foundation Trust and the Mental Health Northants Collaboration, which support us to add quality and variety, growing to meet the needs of our communities. Growth for us isn't about amassing market share, and it isn't about pushing USPs through social media to justify charging above framework pricing. Our purpose is to support the growth of each individual we encounter and to challenge ourselves to develop innovative and progressive services which speak for themselves, with outcomes that match the aspiration of our service users. Richard is key to developing some of these services, and he'll talk about those in a few moments. Key to this is our education team, who have exceeded every target set for them, delivering the Adult Numeracy Multiply programme, adding real value to the experience of our service users in each centre. This morning, we launched our new 3-year strategy. And we'd love you to download it. There's some cards outside with the QR code, and you can download it to your phone. It links straight through to our website. In embarking in this new chapter, our intention is to grow to be a modern environment, parting ways with outdated perception of daycare, acknowledging the political climate and local commissioning priorities. Though we feel we are one of the leading organisations in co-production locally, our intention is to benchmark against a higher standard. Our co-production structure is in part a legacy of the BBO project, and as we engage in newer projects with partners such as MHNC and NNC Adult Education, we are confident that we are a partner who delivers to a high standard and adds value beyond the terms of our projects. Our vision is to recreate a world where learning disability, autism and mental health challenges are not barriers to people wanting to actively participate in their community through education, work skills training, volunteering and social activities. There is no doubt that in order to achieve our charitable goals, the political landscape and economic climate will continue to test our resilience as a charity, and there will be challenges to overcome. However, Teamwork Trust is in a very positive position to achieve our mission of supporting our service users to live full, purposeful lives and achieving their version of independence. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. What an honour it is to be here tonight and just talk about what we're doing with the wonderful people we work with. And they really are. My previous job was with the Northampton Police, working in gangs and knife crime. So you can imagine it's a bit of a change now, working with adults with learning disability and autism. But it's a wonderful challenge. I've been brought in to create enterprise. And what I mean by enterprise is listening properly to our service users' voices. What do they want to do for their future? And we did have a clip for you tonight. We couldn't quite manage it, but I can talk for England, so it won't be a problem. Basically, we surveyed our service users and asked them, what do you want to do? And we got some fabulous ideas in terms of social enterprise being delivered in safe, supportive spaces, our 3 centres across the county. Some of those enterprises include sewing, laser printing, T-shirt production, online sales, pat testing, the list goes on. And this year alone, we're going to launch 10 of these micro social enterprises in some of our sites. Just to give you one example, Bex is a young lady with autism, and she said to me, I would love to do sewing. So my job now is to listen to her voice properly and follow that through so we turn it into a viable enterprise. So I've spoken to the Salvation Army and got their sewing patterns, G4S, who are going to assist us as well. We're going to get an adaptive sewing machine in and create a supply chain. Now you might think, well, that's great, that's Bex now running a micro enterprise that's making a return. And I must say that return will be reinvested back into that micro enterprise. But there's more than that. By creating that supply chain right at the start, we have another young lady who just loves cutting. That's all she does all day. Well, guess what? She'll be cutting the patterns. We have another gentleman who is really good at online sales. And yes, he will be involved in the online sales. So these micro enterprises won't just be for one person. That we are surveying, so there's a complete supply chain and we involve all the service users in them. So I'm really excited, especially this year. We've put in a major lottery bid, quite difficult, and we'll see what happens with that. But that won't matter because we're going to go out to businesses, the community, enthuse everyone and get them fully involved in driving these forward. And we hope in your local areas we'll invite some of you in to celebrate that success because it's going to be fab. A couple of other things we want to talk about is volunteering. It's core to what we do at Teamwork, and we want to create a compassionate voluntary journey, not just one that takes volunteers in, and the volunteer journey might be a little bit limited. We want to consider the whole pathway of that person's life. So taking maybe vulnerable people who are on their own mental health recovery pathway and creating a really important pathway to work. One of the ideas I have is to talk to HR departments of large businesses and consider those people that are off long-term sick and how we can get them back involved in our supply chain, if you like, and link them back into work by creating an environment that's really supportive and it will improve their self-confidence, self-esteem and get them back into the workplace. So that's one idea, but there's many more. So volunteering is another one that's alongside our enterprise goals this year. The third one, which I'm really keen to do, is we're going to row the Atlantic. I've been to Amazon Leisure. They've already donated 3 rowers to each of our centres. I've been speaking to G4S, and they're from the prison supplying 3D ocean floor transfers and wall transfers, and then all the centres are going to decorate their own space, and the service users are getting involved in the rowing. Those that can't actually row will be involved in the support, the recording and the like. But we're going to push that far and wide through North Northants and really gain that momentum, and that's going to be our major fundraising event for this year. So if you can assist me in any way in progressing that forward, we're looking at late September, giving us plenty of time, and I'm just in the process of doing a project plan for that. So that's us, that's teamwork, what we're all about. Got a fabulous boss, I'm going to say that, aren't I? Great team, great delivery team. But what's most important for all of us is our wonderful people that we work with, those people with autism, learning disability, and those with mental health challenge. And I'd just like to thank you, Councillor Lorman, for inviting us tonight. It's a real honour. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Helen and Richard, for your talk on Teamwork Trust. And I would hope that as many councillors as possible can work on the Atlantic Rowing Challenge. It would be brilliant to raise funds in that way. And I know there are loads of very, very fit and able people in the chamber. So this is your chance on the rowing machine. With that, can we turn to agenda item 7, the political group leadership. May I see Councillor Jason Smithers to move the recommendation of the report.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. And firstly, let me congratulate you and your Vice Chair on your election. We have a table adorned up here with remarkable, accomplished women exemplifying the diversity that has become the norm here at North Northamptonshire Council. I extend my best wishes to you and your Vice for this municipal year, and I am certain that both of you will do us absolutely proud. So congratulations to the both of you and to the other ladies at the table as well. Well done. Moving on to business. Item 7. This report informs annual council of the chairs and vice chairs leading each of the 4 political groups of North Northamptonshire Council for 24-25 municipal year. There are no changes to the report to any leadership positions, and any changes to group leadership or formation should be notified to the council through the monitoring officer as soon as practical. With that, I move that motion. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Smithers. Could I see Councillor McKean to second the recommendations, please?
Thank you, Chair. As leader of the largest opposition group, I'm happy to second that motion and look forward to working with the other opposition groups as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much. By convention, it's not a report that we debate, so we will now move to the vote. Please, could you use your electronic devices? And once it's been set up, you will have 30 seconds to vote. Thank you very much.
The vote has now commenced. There are 10 seconds remaining. The vote has now ended. The results are 58 for, 1 abstention, none against.
Therefore, the recommendation is carried. Thank you very much. Agenda item 8, the leader's address to the council. May I please see Councillor Jason Smithers, the leader of the council, to address the annual council.
Again, thank you very much, Chair. Firstly, I'm sure everyone in this chamber will join me in recognising Councillors Barbara Jenny's contribution as Chair of this council over the last year. Barbara's outstanding contribution to council meetings, civic events, and the mission of elevating the remarkable work in North Northamptonshire are truly commendable. Barbara, from part of this council, from everyone in this council, we absolutely thank you for everything you've done. I am confident that everyone in this chamber would also join me in welcoming Councillor Laura Lorman as the Chair of the Council. We eagerly anticipate many more debates in this chamber over the coming year with Councillor Lorman at the helm. It's a great privilege to speak at this 4th annual council meeting. Over the past year, the council has come together across political lines to work with our partners and create an ambitious long-term vision for North Northamptonshire through the Big 50 vision. As members will know, the Big 50 vision has 3 pillars, which will aim to make North Northamptonshire a proud, prosperous and proactive place. It is only fitting, therefore, Chair, that we acknowledge some music.
That sounds like £5 to the chairman's charity.
I think it was Councillor McGee. Councillor McGee that needs to get his wallet out for you, Madam Chair. Now. So I shall continue, Madam Chair. It was only fitting, Chair, that we acknowledge some of the recent achievements and share in the strong sense of pride in our local area. And on that note, there were 2 businesses in North Northamptonshire this year that were awarded the King's Award for Enterprise. Matrix Corp Limited, which is a provider of high purus, non-ferrous recycled metals to customers in Asia, Europe and the Middle East, received the King's Award for Enterprise in the category of international trade. Also, a company called Rockley Limited in Thrapston received the King's Award in the category of promoting opportunity. They are doing great work in providing life-changing opportunities for marginalised people. Now, this really is something to be proud of, especially as only 8 organisations across the United Kingdom were given this particular award. Madam Chair, I'm sure here this evening you would agree with me when we say this is quite an achievement and something that we can all be truly proud of. Whilst I'm on the subject of awards, the council has been doing rather well on that front as well, and it would be reminiscent of us not to sort of acknowledge some of that. The Lodge Park Sports Centre here in Corby won the Association of Public Sector Excellence Award in the category of Sport and Leisure Facility Management. The council, working part of a multi-agency team, was highly commended in the prestigious MJ Awards in 2023. We received recognition on our work on innovative wellbeing initiative for HGV drivers using the Welcome Break truck stop near Rothwell. Our bereavement service care team at the Nem Valley Crematorium received a top award for service excellence from the Wellingborough and East Northampton Chamber of Commerce. There was global acknowledgement for the pioneering women's safety initiative the council worked on, which involved the innovative training package that's being provided to taxi drivers. The initiative aims to keep women safe on nights out, and it was no surprise that that was shortlisted for an international award. Again, our council's Learning and Development team has been shortlisted as the finalist in the National Learning Disability and Autism Awards 2024 in Making a Difference category. And I am told that the winner will be announced next month, so that is something to keep our eyes out for, and I wish the team the very best of luck on that. The council's Legal Services team has been shortlisted for Legal Team of the Year in the Local Government Lawyer Awards. Well done to everyone that's been involved in that. I'm sure that will be a great evening when it's all announced. As well as getting shortlisted and winning awards, we've also played an important role in recognising the achievements of those in the local community. This is something that I feel is very important when developing a sense of pride within our local area. For example, we saw Heather Fell, the Olympic silver medalist in the modern pentathlon, attend the Active Communities Awards. We saw over 100 award nominations for our local champions, helping to celebrate physical activity, sport and wellbeing achievement in the community. It was also heartwarming to see that the council hosted its first apprenticeships award ceremony back in February this year. We had 22 apprenticeship completion attendees stepping forward to receive their certificate. This was a really positive event hosted by the apprenticeship team on behalf of the council and the Children's Trust. I'm now going to outline some of the key investments that this council is making in the future of North Northamptonshire, and I'm confident that the significant investments that we are making will lead to many more achievements and success stories in the future, not just at the council, but in our local communities too. And that's why we're here, to help our local communities. As a council, we are investing in our staff. In February this year, the Council implemented its new pay structure, new terms and conditions for around 1,300 staff. This is around half of the Council's workforce. These new pay arrangements improve the pay of some of our lowest paid employees, as well as provide a clearer career pathway for those colleagues who want to progress further within this Council. This is an important investment, and I am confident it will attract and retain new talent, supporting our aims of becoming an employer of choice and helping deliver our ambitions for the future. Further to this investment, in line with our vision to be a one council, I also outlined at the meeting of full council earlier this year our intention for the second phase of the project. When approved, this will aim to offer the same pay terms and conditions to the remaining employees who transferred into North Northamptonshire Council from the previous 5 councils. Work is currently underway to consider the plan for the next phase of convergence to bring this report to council. Chair, before I continue to highlight the further investments we are making, I'd like to invite members of the council to join me in a standing ovation to say thank you to all of our hard-working and dedicated staff. Madam Chair, I wanted to remind us that the Council this year has set a balanced budget for a 4th year in a row, a revenue budget of £375.3 million for this year and a capital budget of £113.1 million over the next 4 years. Through this budget, we are investing £62.6 million to protect vital services and deliver service improvements, including £29 million into adult social care and over £15 million into our children's services. This investment reflects our commitment to those in our community who are the more vulnerable and in need of our support. We are continuing to make savings and efficiencies and generating income totaling £23.8 million to help fund improvements in local services. We are also retaining our council tax support scheme at 25%. The Council is also making significant longer-term investments in the area too. This year, we are progressing the delivery of a capital investment programme totalling over £113 million over a 4-year period from 24 to 28. Some of the items this includes is investing £49.1 million into North Northamptonshire's roads, of which £16 million has been allocated to help combat potholes and improve journeys. This is the largest investment this council has ever made into highways to date and reflects the priority of our residents' place on the important area. We are making a £12.3 million investment into local schools, providing more school places and bolstering our SEND provision. We're investing £10.7 million in providing support for adapting homes to improve accessibility for our residents, helping them stay independent. That's a really important investment in some of our communities that need that type of work in their houses. £9.1 million has been allocated to improving digital infrastructure and modernising our services, making them more accessible and efficient to our service users. We have set out a £2.9 million investment in electric vehicle infrastructure, just one part of our comprehensive carbon management plan. £2.7 million will be invested as part of the £17 million overall programme investment in the Corby Towns Fund improvements. We'll also invest £900,000 to support community groups and rural businesses in our area. We've also been allocated £5 million of capital levelling up funding from the government for investing in culture projects in the area. As I start to draw my speech to a close, which some of you might be welcome, and no laughs please, I wanted to spare a thought for Councillor Mike Tebbit, who we sadly lost at the start of this year. Mike was a tremendous community representative, and he is sorely missed by both the local community he served and by all of us in this council. Lastly, members, you recall that last year at the annual general meeting, we said goodbye to our first chief executive, Rob Bridge. Members will recall that Rob secured the top job at the Chief Executive at Cambridge and Peterborough Combined Authority. Following Rob, quite literally, and it's with a heavy heart this evening, we say goodbye to Janice Gotts. She's over there. Our first Executive Director of Resources and the Council's Section 151 officer. Janice is leaving us to work with Rob Bridge. We won't hold it against her. Now, I had the pleasure in thanking Janice for her contribution to both of the Council, North Northamptonshire, at the Executive meeting last week. However, it would be remiss of me not to say a few words about Janice at her last Council meeting here at North Northamptonshire. And Janice, don't worry, I'm not going to ask you to come up here and make a speech, unless you really want to. Those of us who have worked closely with Janice over the last 3 years, well, 3 and a bit years, will know that Janice has an incredibly sharp mind. She has a keen eye for detail and an absolute affinity with numbers, which quite frankly is a good quality in a Chief Financial Officer. All coupled with a rather dry sense of humour, I'm also told, that at times she has that steely glaze that can stop a purchase order dead in its tracks. I've seen that. Joking aside, Janice has played a huge role here in keeping this authority on an even keel in terms of its finances. She has ensured that we have robust financial government arrangements in place, and I'm sure that this will stand us in good stead, not just for today, but for the years to come. I have to say, Janice has grappled some very difficult tasks, but has done so extremely well. She has worked incredibly hard for this council, and she has helped assemble a strong finance, audit, procurement and performance team who are committed to improving public services and help deliver for this council's ambitious plans for the future. Chair, I would like to end my address this evening by inviting members of the council to join me in a standing ovation for Janice, and I would like everyone to join me in and thank her for her hard work and dedication to the council and wish her the absolute best for the future.
Thank you very much, Councillor Smithers, for this fantastic good news. The world is full of bad news so often, and to hear the superb stories of what this council has achieved in the last year is absolutely excellent. And may I join also, Janice, I wish you, from the chair and the vice chair, we wish you well in your new job, and please, one message to Rob Bridge: stop poaching our staff. So with that, may I please see Councillor Matt Keane as leader of the Labour Group to address the annual council. You've got 5 minutes.
Thank you. I'd like to start by paying tribute to the outgoing chair, Barbara Janney. You have worked incredibly hard representing North Northamptonshire at civic events. And I'd like to also welcome Councillor Jenny Bone as the new vice chair. You've been fair at all council meetings, and I hope the next chair will do the same. And I'd like to offer my congratulations to Councillor Laura Lorman on taking up this role this year.
Thank you.
I'd also like to say, what a cracking choice of charity. I know Teamwork Trust well, and I've worked with them in Corby, and it's a great endorsement for the charity that you have picked.
Thank you.
I'd also like to say thank you for everything that Janice Gotts has done as the Section 151 officer, especially with helping us through the 3 opposition budgets that we have delivered. I am pleased to have been re-elected as leader of the Labour Group. This year, we've added 2 more councillors, we've managed to elect a Police and Fire Commissioner and an MP. I'm sure that I'll be standing here this time next year with even more impressive numbers, more councillors and more MPs. But Chair, let's review some of the Conservatives' offer at the last election now we're 3 years in. They promised a new and improved regime for road maintenance. We're nicknamed Pothole City, and even the leader have criticised the care contract. It's a promise that wasn't kept. They promised to deliver high-quality services that are value for money. There's plenty of value for money for the contractors that have benefited from privatisation, a promise not kept. They promised to continue to work with the police to tackle crime and antisocial behaviour. Hopefully now we have a Labour Police and Crime Commissioner, this can be delivered. I don't need to go into detail of the Tory offering here, as the election results and the national news headlines speak for themselves, but I would like to shout out Councillor Zoe McGee for all the hard work she's done on the Police and Crime Panel. They promised to build high-quality, affordable housing across Northamptonshire. I think the only ones that are in the plan are the ones that the previous districts and boroughs have promised. The truth is we've not kept our ambition to build new social housing. It's a promise they have not kept. They promised to commit to expanding free car parking to support our high streets and businesses. Another empty promise with no movement on the delivery. 3 years in, let's see if they can deliver these pledges that were in their manifesto throughout the next year. Because this time next year, we'll be judging this authority. We will all be campaigning and fighting for residents across Northamptonshire in every town and every village. We will also be working and utilising the amazing staff who work so hard for this authority. They give the residents here a council they can be proud of. I would like to thank every single employee of the council for everything they've done for this authority over the last year. Let's look to the year ahead and see if the administration can deliver on the pledges that they promised us 3 years ago, because this Labour group will be holding them to account if they haven't delivered what they promised. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Keane. And could I please see Councillor Fedorovich of the Green Alliance Group to address the Council?
Thank you very much, Chair. First of all, I would also like to thank the outgoing Chair. Just trying to see you, Councillor Jenny. It's been an absolute delight to join you on so many events this year, and you've done a tremendous job. It's been beautiful to spend time with you and enjoy them in your company. So thank you very, very much for the honour of joining you for some of those. I also want to wish, as I already have done, good luck to the new Chair and Vice Chair. I'm sure you'll both do a wonderful job. And I did also want to draw attention to our wonderful top table of strong female women who are leading this meeting, this council forward in an incredible direction. So it's very, very great to see. I'm sure that a lot of people looking at that top table will be very inspired to see you there. So thank you very much. I, of course, also want to thank Janice and wish you the best, all the best for the future. We will miss you. You are wonderful, but I'm sure they will absolutely love you where you're going with Rob as well. So. And I also want to thank Helen and Richard from the Teamwork Trust for coming along. It's wonderful. It's always wonderful to hear what you guys are doing. A lot of us are quite aware of teamwork, but it's really, really wonderful. And you're doing new things all the time. The 10 social enterprises is so exciting to hear about. So congratulations on that and good luck. This last year, I have had the honour of being the Mayor of Kettering and representing our town in a civic, representing our area in a civic way, and it would be remiss of me not to mention that it's been a big year for Kettering that I actually think is something that we all should be quite proud of as Northants. We've won 2 world titles. I'm sure many of you have seen the news about Karen Wilson, and he had his homecoming party at Wicksteed Park very recently, which was a momentous moment. But we also won the world title for cheerleading in America, in Florida, which was amazing. So our TCA Cheer and Tumble Group, amazing, amazing work from them. And also Miss Northamptonshire, who's from Kettering, has just won the Miss UK title and is going on to represent us, Northamptonshire, on the world stage, which I just think is fantastic. So our community are really, really doing us proud out there, and I think they're putting Kettering and Northants' best foot forward, and I just think that's very, very exciting. So, what about us? What about NNC? So, we're 3 years in, 3 years as a new council. How far have we come? We have made progress in a fair few areas. The new bus service improvement plan is very, very welcome. We have an excellent homeless strategy. EV charging has been much improved. And actually, there are a lot of other fantastic things that Councillor Smithers has mentioned that I won't go into all of them. But there are a lot of good things that we have done so far. But we also know we have to hold our feet to the fire and be honest about where we are. Both with our recent SEND report, we know school places are a challenge. The Children's Trust, again, is still an ongoing issue for us. And I am ultimately disappointed that we have reached our 3-year point and our climate 3 million our climate fund has not been spent. 1 million, sorry. If we had 3 million, that'd be great. But our 1 million for climate hasn't been spent, and ultimately, every day that money is not spent on the things that are going to reduce our emissions, reduce or support our communities and our businesses, that is ultimately impacting our residents. So every time we have a storm and our farmers are hit with unexpected weather, every time that we are vulnerable residents are impacted by the heat waves that are coming, this is because of our inaction. So we need to get on with spending that money. And we've got some really intense weather to come as well, and it's just going to get worse. So the more we can do now, the better it will be for our residents in the future. On this front, though, we have really made some good movements with that fund, and I do want to highlight some of that because I think it's really important that we, whilst I'm challenging us, we also have to celebrate what we are doing well. So we are transitioning to electric power tools for our ground maintenance staff, 35% of the way there for that. It's stalled a little bit. We need to keep pushing on that. The hydrogen-powered refuse truck in Wellingborough that's being piloted at the moment. The tightening of procurement as well, and I know those teams are working incredibly hard, which is fantastic to see, and also working on projects to reduce energy consumption of our highest energy consuming buildings, one of which being the Corby pool. So that is some really fantastic work that's going on. But I also want to take this time, as I say, to reinstill the urgency of making sure that we spend that money for the future, investing more in this, and making sure that actually we should be having a bid writer that will actually pull in more of that funding. We don't have all of that funding. So we do need to be looking at ways that we can get some more funding into this authority. So ultimately, I just want us to look forward, and I feel like in a lot of ways we're entering into a new and quite positive era with a new chief executive, a vision for Big 50, and once we get our customer service issues and the Children's Trust sorted, so some of the biggest issues that we have, which I'm sure we'll also be able to do with our new Director of Children's Services, I think that we will be on our way to being that council that we aspire to be. I highly commend the council also for putting in an electric funding bid for buses. Even though we didn't win the funding, this is the kind of action that we need to try to progress our area and fight for the investment that we deserve, our residents deserve.
Councillor Fedorovich, could you wrap up, please?
I'm just finishing. I just wanted to say, with the general election just being called, we've got more change on the horizon. But whatever comes to pass, I just think it's really important that we remember why we're here. We are here to make a difference to the lives of people that we look after, to challenge ourselves to make things better, and preserve the wonderful environment that we have here in Northamptonshire, the heart of the country. Thank you very much for all that you're all doing. It is so, so important. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Fedorovich. We haven't got the leader of the Independent Alliance Group to address the council. I think in all fairness, I will allow the deputy, if you wish to speak, for 5 minutes, a very succinct 5 minutes, please. Did you, Councillor Hakewill, I think you are the deputy of the group. Did you wish to speak?
You're quite right. You must have been reading the agenda. The last item did make me the deputy leader of the Independent Alliance. I'm not sure, could you define what a succinct 5 minutes is as opposed to 5 minutes?
Councillor Hakewill, you're wasting your time now. Would you please carry on?
Chairman, I'm never wasting my time when talking to you.
Would you like to carry on?
Unaccustomed as I am to standing up and speaking, and equally not finding this particular item on the agenda, Councillor Brown is at a fairly important engagement elsewhere. I've thoroughly enjoyed, and so have my Alliance colleagues, challenging this particular council. Not so much since we ended up in what we call a parliamentary situation here, although this last year we had that change, and it makes a great change, and it's quite nice to see the faces of those opposite, despite the fact that no one consulted anyone else but themselves when we changed to this adversarial role. I quite like adversarial roles, as you'll probably know. I'd congratulate the top table, as others have done, for their elevation to that particular position. I did put my microphone on when Councillor Armour was being proposed as the deputy, because yes, indeed, at Kettering Borough, for sure, we had roughly 3/4 Conservative, 1/4 Labour. And that was how we rotated the senior roles. And I hope that when we get to a position of the future where there maybe are different balances in this particular chamber, that one group won't take all the chairmanships and assume that they have a monopoly on understanding what the residents of Northamptonshire wish for. It's the greatest sadness of the adversarial way in which we deliver these things. I don't mind being belittled. I don't mind being criticised, because to me that's a badge of honour, and it should be a badge of honour for those in opposition, like the Independent Alliance Group. The more vexed and frustrated the faces opposite me get, the more I believe I must be doing the right thing. Otherwise, there wouldn't be all these comments and so on. So I enjoy challenging. I think that in this next year, we should really look at scrutiny. I go to the LGA. In fact, I had 2 LGA meetings today online. And nowhere can I find anywhere in the country where this so-called hybrid local partnership process or panel process works, which is in the behest of the leader only to choose. It doesn't work, and I see that if we do get into trouble, and there are people coming in, as there are in other councils across the country, it will be criticised that we don't have a properly resourced, fully resourced scrutiny process. These environmental panels and so on that are looking at the most major things we do, planning, control and development, are out with any scrutiny. And the lack of scrutiny is what typifies the 10 or 12 councils that followed the county council in terms of failure. I would like to thank Janice, who, amongst all the other officers, understands and perhaps sometimes tolerates the opposition view. So, Chairman, we have generated change in Wellingborough, and I'm quite sure that the future for the Kettering area has got to be rosy, because unless we change the complete and dictatorial control over all of our lives, and we have a much more consensual way of dealing with the issues that we have, I think we will go down. But I'm really looking forward to Big 25. Big 25. Half the time that it's taking the council to get to 50, Big 25 to me is the elections next year, when hopefully we will get much more balance and much more tolerance of individual views within this chamber. People outside recognise what's going on. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Hakewill. Thank you, councillors, for all your contributions. And we move on to item 9, the confirmation of the executive appointments. Can I invite the leader of the council to confirm the executive appointments for the new municipal year? Councillor Smithers.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. As you may have noticed, my speech I tried to keep very politically, all political parts out of it, but maybe next time I should try a little harder. Anyway, item 9, confirmation of executive appointments. You will find the list of members of the executive and their portfolios on your desks. I confirm that there are no changes for the list 24-25 municipal year.
Thank you, Councillor Smithers. With that, we go to item 10, the committee membership and appointment of chairs and vice chairs of committees for 24-25. I note in respect of the area planning north only that the chair and vice chair positions are contested and will need separate votes. I'm therefore proposing to take the recommendations in stages. And firstly, I will seek a mover and seconder for recommendations for A, B and D only, which are to agree the political proportionality applied as per Appendix A, to note the respective group nominations to committees as contained in Appendix B, and to note the monitoring officer's delegation. So please may I see Councillor Smithers to move the recommendations.
Thank you very much, Chair. The report requests annual council to confirm the membership of the council committees and bodies where it is council's responsibility to make such appointments, and note the appointments for the other executive bodies. Each of the group nominations for committees, panels and bodies are placed on councillors' desks marked as Appendix B. I am pleased to present my own group's nominations to council and move that the recommendations A, B, D of the report.
Thank you very much, Councillor Smithers. Can I see Councillor Helen Howard to second the recommendation, please?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I second the recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you. We do not have a debate. Which point of order are you referring to, Councillor?
Thank you, Chair. Just it's a point of clarification more, but on page 20 of
Were you
the
going to stand up, Councillor?
I'm sorry, of course, sorry.
Thank
sorry,
you.
Chair. On page 20 of the recommendation, Planning Transformation Board, you'll see at the NB that the chair is the executive member for Children, Families, Education and Skills. That's not correct. That should be Growth and Regeneration. Page 20, at the bottom.
So, could you just briefly repeat?
Right. At bottom of page 20,
yeah.
Planning Transformation Board, the list of members being suggested is as you see it. The chair is the executive member for Growth and Regeneration, that is myself. Then it goes on to say, NB, the chair is the executive member for Children, Families, Education and Skills in accordance with the terms of reference.
Yep.
But it should, of course, be the chair is the executive member for Growth and Regeneration.
Yes.
Okay, it's just a correction.
Thank you very much, Councillor Brockenbury.
Thank you, Chair, and congratulations on your appointment.
Thank you. Could we please amend that in the minutes then? With that amendment, by convention, we don't have a debate on this report, so we will use our electronic voting buttons, which will appear on your microphone once the vote has commenced, and you will have, as usual, 30 seconds to vote. And that is only on A, B and D.
The vote has now commenced.
Thank you.
There are 10 seconds remaining. The vote has now ended. The results are as follows. 56 for, 1 abstention, 0 against.
Thank you. Therefore, A, B and D are carried. I have got on the screen a request from Councillor Maxwell, but there is no debate. I presume it's an accident that you touched the button. Okay, thank you. You've just disappeared from there anyway. So with that, we are moving to the move. Can I see the mover and seconder for recommendation C, the uncontested chair and vice chair nominations only, as detailed in Annex B? And I would stress it's the uncontested nominations only. I know it's going to get a bit complicated. I know it's late in the evening, but we will move to the vote there, and I just repeat, it's the uncontested chair and vice chair nomination in C only as per recommendation. We come to the others in a moment. So you have 30 seconds once the vote commences.
The vote has now commenced.
Could we just have one meeting, Councillor Pengelly?
There are 10 seconds
Or shall
remaining.
we all join into a conversation? Shall we all join with you into the conversation? Can we have one meeting, please? Okay.
The vote has now ended. The results are as follows. 55 for, 1 abstention, 0 against.
Thank you. With that, the 2 uncontested elections have been carried. So, we now come to the contested recommendations for Chair of Planning North. We have 2 recommendations. We have Councillor Wendy Brackenbury, and we also have Councillor Simon Riley. And may I see Councillor Helen Howell to move the nomination. Sorry, bear with me. Sorry. No, we've changed that. Thank you. May I see Councillor Helen Howell, please, to move the nomination of Councillor Wendy Brackenbury, and please bear with me because we'll take it bit by bit.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. Yes, I move the nomination for Councillor Wendy Brackenbury to be the Area Planning Committee North Chair. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Can I please see Councillor Mark Rowley to second the nomination of Councillor Wendy Brackenbury?
Yes, Chair, happy to second the nomination of Councillor Wendy Brackenbury.
Thank you. May I now see Councillor Matt Keane to move the nomination of Councillor Riley?
Thank you, Chair. The Area Planning Committee North has 6 Conservatives and 7 oppositions. We feel that it is appropriate then to nominate an opposition chair, and I'd like to nominate Councillor Simon Riley to chair this committee. And if failed, I'd like to then nominate him. If he doesn't win this one, I'd like to nominate him to be the vice chair of the committee. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Could I see Councillor Zoe McGee to second the nomination of Councillor Simon Riley, please?
Thank you, Chair. I'm happy to second the nomination.
Thank you. Right, so we will now move to the vote, and to avoid any confusion, we will not use our system here. I will ask for a show of hands, and bit by bit we will do it again. So first of all, could I please see a show of hands for Councillor Wendy Brackenbury as Chair of Area Planning North? Against? Abstentions? Thank you. That is carried. I will ask for the show of hands for Councillor Simon Riley as Chair of Area Planning, just to complete the voting. And against? Abstentions? Thank you. Therefore, I declare that Councillor Wendy Brackenbury will be the Chair of the Area Planning Committee North. We now have the nominations for the Vice Chair of the Area Planning Committee, and there are also 2 nominations. The first nomination is Councillor Robin Carter as Vice Chair, and the second one is Councillor Simon Riley. May I see Councillor Helen Howell to move the nomination, first of all, of Councillor Robin Carter.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yes, I'll move the nomination for Councillor Robin Carter to be the Vice Chair of the Area Planning Committee North. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Could I see Councillor Rowley to second the nomination?
Thank you, Chair. Happy to second Councillor Robin Carter.
Thank you. May I please see Councillor Matt Keane to move the nomination of Councillor Simon Riley?
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to nominate Simon Riley to be the Vice Chair of Area Planning North for the reasons I stated earlier. Thank you.
Thank you. May I please see Councillor Zoe McGee to second the nomination of Councillor Simon Riley?
Thank you, Chair. Happy to second the nomination.
Thank you. So we do exactly the same. We are not using our buttons. We are going to have a show of hands. So the first one, I will move it to the vote. May I see a show of hands for Councillor Robin Carter as Vice Chair of Area Planning North? Against? Abstentions? Thank you. May I now see a show of hands for Councillor Simon Riley as Vice Chair of Area Planning North? Against? Abstentions? That's carried. Right. I therefore declare that Councillor Robin Carter has been elected as the Vice Chair of the Area Planning Committee North. If you could please have one meeting. Oops. Thank you. That concludes the process of appointing.
For the sake of democracy, Chair, I did have some questions on this item. I don't think it's just for noting or voting on. Are we allowed to speak on it?
No, there is no debate on the appointments under in our constitution. I've checked that.
That is absolutely ridiculous. No one ever get dictated to.
So this concludes the process of appointing to memberships of committees and chairs and the vice chairs of those committees. And we come to agenda item 11, outside bodies. Please note that the Council has been requested to note the strategic appointments are made by the leader, and we are only there to approve the community appointments. What is your point of order, Councillor?
To our residents that they cannot see all this. They've been watching the whole time. Annex B was nearly passed with a serious mistake in it. The residents at home cannot see these papers and don't know what we're talking about. It's a lack of democracy, and for a paperless society, a paperless council, more than 1,000 pages were printed for this, and there was no option for councillors to look at this digitally, to look at the digital copy. It's not available online.
Thank you for your
so
valuable
I think
comments.
that is wrong.
Thank you. Just bear with me while I take some advice from the monitoring officer.
The Citrix system is down, so they're not available at the moment.
Right. I've been advised that our Citrix system is down. That's why they can't see what we are doing. But as soon as Citrix is up again, they will be able to see, and they will be able to follow then what we've been doing. And things like that, I'm afraid, do happen sometimes. It is not a lack of democracy in any shape or form. I repeat now, please note the Council has been requested to note the strategic appointments are made by the leader of the Council, and we are only here to approve the community appointments. And in respect of the community appointments, I note that nominations to Northamptonshire Rail Action Group LANRAC and Wellingworth School are contested and will need separate votes. I'm therefore proposing to take the recommendations in stages, with a vote on the uncontested nominations first, and then votes each on the contested ones. So may I see Councillor Helen Howell to move the uncontested nominations, please.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chairman. I'll move the uncontested nominations. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Could I see Councillor Rowley to second the nominations?
Thank you, Chair. Happy to second the uncontested.
Thank you. By convention, we do not have a debate on this item. We will now move to a vote of the uncontested community appointments only. Please use your electronic voting button, which will appear on the microphones in a second, and you have 30 seconds time to vote.
The vote has now commenced.
Thank you.
There are 10 seconds remaining. The vote has now ended. The results are as follows: 46 for, 5 abstentions, 7 against.
Thank you. Therefore, the recommendation is carried for the uncontested ones. I will now move to the 2 contested elections. Firstly, the nomination for Northamptonshire Rail Action Committee, LANRAC, and we have the following nominations. 1, Councillor Graham Lawman and Councillor Matt Keane. So may I see Councillor Helen Howell to move the nomination of Councillor Graham Lawman?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Yes, I'm happy to move the nomination for Councillor Graham Lawman for the Leicestershire and Northamptonshire Rail Action Committee, LANRAC. Thank you.
Thank you. Could I see Councillor Rowley to second the
Thank you,
nomination?
Chair. Happy to second Councillor Graham Lawman.
Thank you very much. May I now see Councillor Zoe McGee to move the nomination of Councillor Matt Keane. It's been a long day.
Thank you, Chair. In the interest of not being dictated to, I would like to move for Councillor Mackean. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councillor Anne Lee, may I ask you to second the nomination?
Thank you, Chair. I'm very happy to second the nomination of Councillor Matt Keane.
Thank you. We will move to the vote in order to avoid any confusion using the voting buttons. because you could either only vote yes or no, and it can cause confusion. We are going to have a show of hands again, and the first show of hands for Councillor Graham Lorman to be the outside body representative to LANRAC. Can I have a show of hands? For, against, abstentions. May I now see a show of hands for Councillor Matt Keane as the outside body representative to LANRAC? For, against, abstentions. Thank you. That is carried. Councillor Graham Lorman is the outside body representative for LANRAC. We will now move to the election of the outside body representative to Wellingborough School. May I just have your indulgence, because I just want to double check with the monitoring officer, because one of the positions is myself. Am I just okay? All right. Thank you. I'm not voting. No, I will not vote. We have the following nominations for the outside body representative to Wellingborough School. One of them is myself and Councillor Valerie Anslow. May I see Councillor Helen Howell for the nomination of Councillor Laura Lorman.
Thank you, Councillor Lorman. Madam Chair, yes, I'm happy to propose your good self, Councillor Laura Lorman, for the community outside body for Wellingborough School. Thank you.
Thank you. Could I see Councillor Rowley to second that?
Thank you, Chair. Happy to second the proposal for Councillor Laura Lorman.
May I see Councillor Matt Keane to move the nomination of Councillor Valerie Anslow?
Yes, thank you, Chair. I'd like to nominate Councillor Valerie Anslow to be the representative on Wellingborough School.
Thank you. May I see Councillor Anne Lee to second the nomination of Councillor Valerie Anslow?
Happy to second the nomination of Councillor Anslow.
Thank you. Again, we will do it by show of hands to avoid any confusion. So we will move to the vote. May I see a show of hands for Councillor Laura Lorman, please, to be the outside body representative at Wellingborough School? For, against, abstentions. And may I see a show of hands for Councillor Valerie Anslow to be the outside body representative for Wellingborough School? Against, abstentions. Thank you. That is carried that Councillor Laura Lorman will be the outside body representative for Wellingborough School. Thank you. That concludes the process of the appointments. Agenda item 12, the section 151 designation, appointment of the interim Executive Director of Finance and Performance and section 151 officer. May I please see Councillor Jason Smithers to move the report.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. The purpose of this report is to seek the agreement of the Council to appoint Claire Edwards as the North Northamptonshire's Interim Executive Director of Finance and Performance and Section 151 Officer, and note the process for the recruitment and selection for the permanent role. This is both a sad time as we say goodbye to Janice, as we've already alluded to, who has been our Section 151 Officer and our Executive Director since the formation of this authority, and a positive moment as we propose that Claire Edwards be appointed as the Interim Director and Section 151 Officer. It is very pleasing to know that we have the skills and capacity within our organisation and within the Directorate that people can step up into the roles, and these vital roles, should I say, whilst we undertake a period of external recruitment to the role. I'm pleased to move the recommendation in the report.
Thank you very much, Councillor Smithers. Could I see Councillor Lloyd Bundy to second the report?
Thank you, Chair. Yes, I'm very happy to second the proposals for Claire Edwards as our 151 officer interim.
Thank you. Do you wish a right to speak? I haven't got anybody registered who wish to speak on that item. Councillor McGee.
Thank you, Chair. And I'd like to welcome Claire Edwards on her new position and congratulate her. She's not here. She's gone. She's gone. Hopefully that's only the odd times you'll be aware of. But I would also very much like to thank our outgoing Section 151 officer who has done an absolutely fantastic job for this council. And I hope when she goes and works with Rob, she says hello from all of us And I believe you'll enjoy it a lot more better and you won't be handcuffed the way you have in this dictatorship of our authority. So have a nice time and we'll miss you.
Thank you, Councillor McGee. There are no other speakers. Councillor Smithers, do you want to wrap it up?
I don't think I've got anything to say, Madam Chair, but thank you for the opportunity.
It's okay. So we will now move to the vote. Please use your electronic voting buttons, which will appear on your microphone unit in a moment, and you will then have 30 seconds to vote. Thank you very much.
The vote has now commenced. There are 10 seconds remaining. The vote has ended. The results are as follows. 57 for, 0 abstentions, 0 against.
Thank you very much. Therefore, that recommendation is carried. Agenda item 13 is the close of the meeting. Thank you, councillors and officers, members of the public, and my invited guests, and anybody who has been watching at home. There is no other urgent business. It completes the business of the meeting. And please remember, outside we have some food and drinks, and I hope you will all join me for a drink afterwards. I now declare the